Hello and welcome to another guide. And this time is about the Lupusregina, the original version, also known as the SR Lupusregina, otherwise, the one that is on screen right now. And this actually is not a first time guide about the character, but is like a remake. I already did a guide on this character, but I missed out two specific things on this character because I didn't notice it at that time. So now that I notice it, well, I noticed it a while back. I just didn't have the time to do it, and now that I have thought about it, I'm gonna do a remake to include everything and make a complete guide, which is gonna be useless because almost no one is gonna use this character at this point. But still, because I do these things and entertains myself, I do them. So to start with, we're gonna be taking a look at the basic attributes, the skill tree, the accessories, the relics. My recommendation on everything about relic set, relic attributes, relic enhancements, as well as awakening gems. We're gonna take a look at the arc light, and then we're gonna be taking a look at my personal recommendations for themes and compositions around this specific character. So yeah, let's start. First off, you can see I have this character level 100, 6 stars Arclight, 6 stars character, Arclight only level 30, and you see that it's almost 25k combat power, which is not really a lot, but it's enough to showcase what the character is capable of and give a good example and all of that. Looking at the basic attributes, we can see that she has double C, that is, the worst rating on a basic attribute a character can get. So she has very bad speed and very, very bad physical defense, and she has double Bs, one on attack and one on magical defense, while she has one A on health. B on magical defense is average, B on attack is decent, but because she's a priest character, she's a healer, that B on attack is gonna be absolutely useless. And A on attack is the only, sorry, A on health is the only good thing about Lupus Regina here, and is not really that comparable to other characters of her own, her own class, the priest class. But anyway, first off, the accessories we can see here that at tier level 3, you're gonna obtain 10% more healing boost, tier 6 is 10% more health, and tier 9 15% effect resistance, which is not bad at all, is, kind of decent. Now, the skill tree or the skills in general. You can see here I don't have any skill maxed out on Lupus Regina because I don't basically I don't play her that much, and I can upgrade her quite a bit, but I don't need to do that, at least not at this point. And if you're thinking about leveling up the character or using her, at any level, you may be low, medium, or high level. It doesn't matter. You don't need to max her skills to be able to, to see her potential and see her good sides, her good points, and all of that. Now, back to the skills. The first skill, if we can call it skill, is the Holy Hammer Strike, the basic attack. It's basically a two-hit attack that deals 25% of her attack as damage, plus from 3.5% health to 6% health. Each hit is very, like very weak, and everything is magical damage. So she's a magical damage character in theory, but she hits very weakly. She doesn't do a lot of damage, and the extra health, converted here on damage, is not a lot because the max value is 5% here, which is not really that useful at all, and not at all in a healer like her. So this is just when you don't have anything else to use. So that will be it. The first active skill, the real skill, is this one, heal. She's gonna restore health equal to some percentage of her own health to one ally that you choose. Can be either 27.5% all the way to 30% of Lupurogina max health, which this is nice because she has A on health, is her best basic stat or basic attribute. So her healing scaling of her health is getting it as high as you can on this character. And at sorry, and at max level, she will also gain speed up on the target that she heals for 2 rounds. That is an increase of 20% more speed, which will come in handy for two type of characters in general. That will be characters with S on speed and characters with C on speed. The two, ends of the speed spectre. The other characters, like the ones that have A or the ones that have B, are not going to enjoy this buff as much, but I'm going to enter in detail about that later when I talk about teams and compositions. But take in mind, this is just a heal that is decent. Well, it's good. The amount of healing is good, and it's gonna be granting speed up to the ally in question. Now, that plays in combination with the passive skill, the regeneration. This says that each healing skill, that means the heal and the upgraded heal, that is the ultimate, each skill or healing skill has a 100% fixed chance to additionally heal two allies with the lowest health, restoring HP equal to 7.2% of Lupusregina HP that can scale all the way to 8.4% of Lupusregina max HP. It used to be 10% some months back, but she got nerfed, so she will not be like the only viable healer on the early game. So it used to be 10%, now it's 8.4%. And at 5 stars, upon triggering the regeneration passive skill, she's gonna heal one more target. So that means that she, at 5 stars, every time she heals someone, she is also gonna heal other 3 targets with the ultimate skill. Sorry, with the passive skill. So she's gonna be healing basically everyone on the team if you throw, for example, the healing with the regeneration. And at max level, this skill additionally grants one stack of block debuff to the target. That basically is this thing right here. That is a prevention buff. Basically, when someone has block debuff and the enemy tries to inflict any debuff on them, like for example, stun or silence or burn or bleed or defense down, all of those things, the block debuff is gonna be used in favor of deleting that buff. It's like a shield. It protects you from incoming debuffs. So as long as the allies have block debuff, they're not gonna be debuffed unless the enemy has more debuffs than your team has block debuff. Because it's managed on stacks. So every time her passive gets activated on her allies are also gonna get the block debuff for 2 rounds, but it's just one stack. So if you want to keep multiple stack on the allies, you will need to constantly heal them with Lupusregina before the enemy inflicts them buffs, or constantly be giving turn meters to Lupusregina so she can keep healing and giving the block debuff. Sorry, the block debuff. This basically is a passive that makes any heal into a multi-ally heal, into a basically area of effect healing that is gonna heal everyone on your team, and it's gonna prevent you from getting future debuffs. Now, the ultimate skill, the All Greater Heal, she's gonna restore health based on her own max HP, and she's gonna purify one debuff from the target, also granting recovering and effect resistance boost to the target. Here, this thing looks like an area of effect skill, like you throw this and you're gonna heal everyone, but no, this is only one, one target skill. You're gonna throw the algorithm heal to one ally, just one ally, but that is gonna trigger the regeneration, and regeneration is gonna heal everyone else. So with this skill, you're gonna try to, target one of the two, either your ally with the lowest health or the ally that will need the recovery or the effect resistance boost. And then the passive skill is gonna, heal everyone else on your team. Also, the value of the healing comes from 18% of her own HP all the way to 24% of her max HP, depending on the level. And the recovering and effect resistance boost came on her upgrade on the stars. At 4 stars, she grants recovery, and 6 stars she grants effect resistance boost. The recover buff basically allows your ally to heal 6% of her own, max HP before action. The HP of the ally with recover, not the HP of Lupusregina here. And the effect resistance boost increases effect resistance by 45%, which is quite a lot. And effect resistance boost is basically what you use to counter effect precision. That is basically the capability of the enemies to inflict debuffs on you. Any kind of debuff. Taunt, freeze, like magical defense down, relic destruction, speed down, bleed, all of those, shock, all kind of debuffs, unless they have what is called fixed chance. But usually almost everything uses basic chance, that is where it plays with effect resistance and effect precision. So basically her ultimate is gonna be giving recover and effect resistance boost to one ally and healing that one ally by a lot, while her passive activates at the same time and heals everyone else on her team. So from here, everything good, except that the last time that I did a guide of her, I missed out that last part of the buffs because my Lupusregina wasn't 6 stars. Now she is, and we see that after healing she gives effect resistance boost, which doesn't seem like a lot because not a lot of characters give effect resistance boost, and not a lot of characters are based on this stat or even play with this. But once you see that the percentage is an increase of 45%, you realize that is really, really nice. Because it's 45%, we can combine that with her tier 9 accessories that is 15%, and it's a total of 60% effect resistance. 60%. And she can activate that on herself for the 16%. That means that skills with 100% basic chance of inflicting a debuff on her and the enemy doesn't have effect precision, the enemy will only have 40% chance of inflicting the debuff on her. That's how effect precision and effect resistance plays. In this case, the basic chance of the enemies against the effect resistance of Lupusregina. So, um, before I get a little bit more into why that is important, let's take a look at the exclusive Arclight, the Seriously Injured. You can see here that she obtains health and attack on plain amounts, and also health on percentage, which is really nice because it plays into her skills, into her healing. And the exclusive effect is that increases the healing effect by 20% and adds an extra target when the next healing triggers regeneration after successfully purifying with all greater heal. Basically, this thing activates after Lupusregina uses her ultimate to purify someone with all greater heal with the ultimate, and regeneration, that is the passive skill, gets activated. So you throw the ultimate of Lupusregina, and after you throw the ultimate, when the passive gets activated to heal everyone else on the team, the healing gets increased by 20% at max stars. I think it's like 5% or something like that at 1 star. So this is really, really nice because if you see that she has HP with A grading there, and you don't think that that might be enough to heal the allies or something like that, like, or maybe the healing is not gonna be that much, the Arclight is gonna make sure that the healing indeed is gonna be much, is gonna be a lot. But Tara's gonna also be playing with what could be her possible recommendations on the relics that we're gonna go into a little bit. Now the awakening recommendation or the awakening levels, you can see she is only level 13. She can go all the way to 30, but I don't have enough materials and all of that. But I can still give you some recommendations. As my recommendation number one here for the energy gem HP, that is gonna be the same for the awakening level 20, will be to give her the increase on health, but the one that is on a percentage. What do I mean? I mean this one, the energy gem HP, that increases the HP all the way from 1% to 10%. That is gonna make her tankier, and not only make her tankier, where it's also gonna increase her overall healing and by that her performance because she's a healer. Also, for the round the gems, the one at level 10 and level 25, I recommend you this one, the Might Gem Effect Resistance. It starts with something like 2.5%, then increases to 5%, then it can go all the way up to, let me show you here, all the way to 20% at max level, which is really, really nice because considering her accessory levels and her 6-star upgrade, if she throws the ultimate on herself, is 60% effect resistance. If you add this, can be all the way to 80% effect resistance. With just one gem level up, you can add the other and you could have the 100% effect resistance. And that will make her pretty resistant to basically any possible debuff that the enemy has. So she will be harder to control by the enemy, she will be harder to kill with damage over time effects, she will be harder to inflict with damage over time effects, and overall she will be a little bit harder to kill to almost any character, especially the characters that are from the mage class and the tank class. So that will be really nice. Now for the rare gem, the one that is on the middle at level 15, I will recommend you either the one that increases the speed or the one that increases the health. The health to, make her tankier, so she's harder to kill, and you're gonna upgrade her, you're gonna upgrade her passive skill, her heal, and her ultimate. Well, even the basic attack, but that is not gonna be used at all. Or the speed gem, because the speed will help her, considering that she has C rating on speed, which is very, very low, and means that you're gonna be struggling to even have a second turn with Lupusregina. It may be chances or moments where one specific enemy already has 3 turns and it's on its way to the number 4 of the turns, while Lupusregina is about to get her second turn or is halfway to her second turn. So the speed gem might help her a little bit. And the awakening level 13, either you give her the one that increases health to increase her survival capabilities as well as her healings, or you give her this one, the power gem healing. Power gem healing at max level, let me show you here, can be an increase of 15% extra health, extra healing boost, or the health that can go all the way to 800. 800 is not a lot on its own, so if I had her at awakening level 30, I will be giving her the power gem healing to increase her healing boost, because that will increase her arclight healing, her passive healing, her heal skill, the first one, and her ultimate skill. So everything on her kit except the basic attack will be upgraded. And considering she's a healer, it might be times where you have to urgently heal some ally with low HP or something like that, and that extra heal can help you to keep alive the ally one more turn, and maybe you win with that one extra turn, you know? But now, with the relic recommendations, I have two specific relic recommendations. The first one is this, is the Vermare set, and the other one is the Hairfire set. Let me show this one right here. And well, also are the same recommendations that the game gives. Usually when I say my recommendations, the game recommends other things. But as you can see here, the Hairfire set increases the healing effect by 8% or 12% if the set is max quality, and by 60% more if the target health is below 50%, or the increase can go to 24% more if the set is max quality. With the prismatic colors, these kind of sets. So this set, the Heartfire, is going to increase her health by 15%, and it's going to increase her overall healing, and even more if your ally in question is low on HP. So that might help you to save one ally, to make a clutch play, and things like that, save someone from dying, be really a good healer. And the Vermine set is this one, increases your critical chance by 15%, and grants you from 20 to 40, depending on your set quality. In my case, it's 40. It grants you 40% chance to reduce one skill cooldown by one round after the skill. That means that you can use any skill And when you use it, she has a chance of having one round reduce. So she can use her her ultimate or her first skill faster than usual, more often, you know? So you can spam the healing and never have to use the basic attack. It's true that the critical chance is not obvious on Lupusregina here, but the Hellfire extra health is very useful, yes, but honestly depends on what do you want. For example, if you want the Hellfire recommendation here, the relic set, it will be because you want your Lupusregina to have one turn to throw any healing, and that healing to be really powerful, you know, to be as, you know, as big as possible, to heal as much as you can in one single turn. While if you go for the Vermare set, it will be more for utility. You throw the Vermare set on her and you get the turn with Lupusregina and you heal someone, is because you're hoping that your Lupusregina is gonna achieve two things. One, she's gonna survive and is gonna get killed very easily in the first turns and so. And two, she's gonna have multiple turns on the game, on the match. So when she has the multiple turns, she has multiple chances of throwing healings more often than the enemy, or at least than other Lupus Reginas, for example. So having healings more often means that your Lupus Regina is going to have the effect resistance boost more often, is going to have the recover effect more often. Everyone else is going to have the block debuff stack more often and more stacks, and means that your Lupus Regina is not going to go and throw basic attacks every 2 turns. She's always going to be healing either with the ultimate or the second skill, because maybe you throw the ultimate on her first turn and Bermare didn't activate it. But the second turn you throw the first skill, the heal skill, and that reduces any of those skills by one round, and next turn you already have the second skill again, you know? So you it depends on what you want. If you want a healer that is gonna have very few turns but is gonna heal a lot, go for her fire set. But if you want a healer that is constantly big, is gonna be healing constantly over and over again, giving multiple times the same buff, then you go for Bermare because it gives you more utility. Now, the now that I'm done with the relic set, is gonna be the relic the relic sub attributes, and take these ones as an example because of course not everything here is gonna be S. You can see here A on effect resistance, S on physical defense, A on health, and reduction to the damage over time. Reduction to damage over time is not really all that important. The A on health is really important because it increases all of her healing and survival capabilities. S on defense is gonna help her not be deleted by something like a Momon ultimate or a Seshi, second skill, considering Lupusregina has C on defense, and the A on effect resistance is not only going to be playing into her accessory upgrade at tier 9, but it's also really, really good because if you throw the ultimate of Lupusregina on herself, she's gonna, and you have this kind of attributes, she's gonna have a lot of effect resistance, so the enemy will have a really hard time doing something like stunning her so you lose that turn with her, or taunting her, or things like that. But even if you use the original ultimate on other allies instead of her and give the effect resistance boost to someone else, the effect resistance boost of Lupusregina on her accessories alongside the sub-attributes one is gonna keep her in a decent amount of effect resistance, so the enemy might struggle in inflicting debuffs of any kind to two enemies, or in this case, two of your characters at the same time. They will struggle to control or put debuffs on the ally that you throw the ultimate and on Lupusregina at the same time. So either way, it's nice. Here you can see an alchemy robe for a physical defense, health, speed, and effect resistance. I already said health because it scales on all of her skills, effect resistance so she's harder to control and inflict, damage over time and so, things like that. A on defense so she doesn't get deleted that easily by the enemy, and A on speed. That is really nice. Try to get speed because she is very, very slow. So enemies with multiple stuns or enemies with a lot of speed are gonna be constantly abusing Lupusregina by attacking her without her being able to heal or retaliate or do anything. So give her speed. Here you can see the Vermare dagger has reduction to damage over time with C and 3A's, effect resistance, effect precision, and speed. She doesn't need effect precision, so you can ignore that one. I just have this one because of the speed and the effect resistance. And then you can see here the Vermare base. C on damage boost, absolutely useless on her. A on speed, S on effect resistance, and S on critical damage resistance. Again, critical damage resistance helps you so any character that is ranger cannot delete, Lupus Regina that easily, even mages. If I were to, give you a specific recommendation on what do you have to upgrade or what should be the priority on the sub attributes for the relics for this character, I will say your priority number one is health or HP, because that will increase everything about her, even the arc light, things, the arc light extra healing on the regeneration. The second thing that you should be prioritizing, at least on my book, should be effect resistance. So she's really, really hard to stun or to taunt or in general to control by the enemy because multiple times in multiple matches against both players and NPCs, some of the most used strategies are if you see one healer on the enemy team, you either try to kill it as soon as possible if you think that you have enough damage, or you try to control it. Maybe you say, oh, I don't have enough damage to kill Lupusregina in a single turn, but maybe I can kill her in 2 or 3 turns. So what do? I stun her, or I taunt her, or I silence her, similar things, control effects, so she doesn't heal, doesn't do anything, and I have one more turn, one more chance to kill her. So effect resistance will help you to, kind of make Lupus Regina viable or resistant against that kind of strategies that are used against multiple priests or multiple healers. Other healers that struggle with that are, for example, Pandora's Actor or Clementine. With Lupusregina, if you give her enough effect resistance, she can basically survive those kind of strategies and actually have a turn in which she heals and might be able to save one ally or multiple allies. So number one, health. Number two, effect resistance. Number three, I will be giving her speed because she is very slow, as I told you. So she will struggle to even have 1 or 2 turns before multiple enemies are ready to play. She's usually gonna be your last character to play unless you have multiple characters with C speed on the same team. But usually she's gonna be the last one. And the fourth stat, it will be depending on you. Either it could be crit resistance with critical damage resistance, or it could be either physical and magical defense. Both help you. The the defense on the basic attributes will help you against normal damage of mages and warriors, and the critical resistance and critical damage resistance will help you mostly against rangers from deleting her with a big critical hit. So depending on what do you think you're gonna be facing with Lupo Regina is what I will give you as the fourth recommendation to upgrade on her. So it's gonna be health, effect resistance, speed, and then whatever you need. Or whatever you think you might face more. Now, time for the relic enhancements. The first one that I will recommend you is Endless Cycle, and you're gonna see in a little bit is this one. Endless Cycle. It gives you health on a plain amount from level 1 to 5, from level 6 to level 10. Also increases your health on a percentage, from 8 to 20%. Ideally, get it at least to level 6 so you enjoy the double boost. But if you can level 10, level 10. That will literally upgrade her best basic attribute, her passive skill, her basic attack, and her 2 active skills, as well as her arc light. So everything on her will be better with Endless Cycle. The number 2 that I recommend you is this one, Indestructible Fortress. From level 1 to 5 gives you effect resistance, I already told you what is good, and from level 6 to level 10 also gives you a reduction to the damage over time, so your Lupusregina is more resilient against bleed, shock, burn, and poison effects from the enemies. Poison is exclusive from enemy NPCs, but bleed, shock, and burn is really used by a lot of other team compositions, so you might need that. Also, other that I could recommend you will be this one, critical damage reduction here, and as well as um, the this one, the Fortitude Mag, that is basically magical defense in both plain amounts and percentage, as well as the normal physical defense one, that is this one, Fortitude Damage, that instead of magical defense gives you physical defense, and it's the same, plain amounts and then from level 6 to level 10 on percentages. So back to Lupusregina here, for that's the one that I have. The first thing that I will recommend you will be to give her Endless Cycle, so she has more health. Then I will recommend you to give her the Indestructible Fortress, so she has more effect resistance and reduction to the damage over time. Then I will be recommending you either Indestructible for the critical resistance, or the ones that increase the the magical defense or the physical defense. You know, the Fortitude ones that I told you. Lupusregina is not really a character that deals damage, or you know, any kind of a debuffer or any character that inflicts many debuffs on the enemies. So you don't need things like attack or damage boost or critical chance or critical damage or effect precision. And she doesn't need any of the special enhancements like Thunderous Surge or Hot Pursuit that increases the assist attacks. She doesn't need any of that because she is not an offensive character. She's there to heal and to tank. She heals, she tanks a little bit of damage, and every time she throws the ultimate and the passive, she gives specific buffs, and that's it. So don't try to give her any kind of offensive statistic or attribute. Now, the last part about Lupusregina here on the guide, and it's the team compositions and my personal recommendations for you. First of all, she's a pleiade. She is, Lupusregina. Everyone knows her, and by extension, she is very viable in any kind of pleiade teams. That let me show you what is that pleiade teams, and we can see here this one includes any version of Yuri, Nave, Sisita, Entoma, Solution, Sebas, Pestonia, and Lupusregina. And one of the main characters that make the playlist inviable is this one on screen right now, that is Yuri, the big sister of the barrel mates, and because of this passive skill, that she can invite one character to launch an assist, that is basically prioritizing one of the pleiades or Sebas if he is there. So you can play Lupusregina with multiple players on the same team or only with the Yuri to have a synergy of players. So when Yuri attacks with the basic attack or the ultimate, you have a chance of Lupusregina jumping in and dealing a little bit of extra damage to the enemy. If you play, for example, Yuri with Solution, Sisita, and Lupusregina, you're more likely to have Solution or Sisita attacking and never Lupusregina because she won't be able to have as much attack as Shizu, for example, but you still have the player synergy of having, extra assist attacks when Yuri attacks, and almost all the players, at least the SR versions, have some kind of synergy as a team. Like, for example, Solution is a ranger. She deals a lot of damage to one single target and inflicts control effects on them, so you can silence one enemy. And control effects are usually for tanks. Then you have Yuri, a defense character that can control one enemy with a stun, can make other players attack on an assist, and she offers a lot of defense against single target enemies. Skills that use or skills that only hit one target, like Momon ultimate skill or second skill or counter Yuri entire kit. For example, uh, if you don't want what Solution offers you as a ranger, you have Sisita as another ranger, a ranger that puts damage over time effects and is based on critical damage and can hit multiple targets. You don't want that? Well, you have Narvel to deal damage to multiple targets at the same time to shock them and lower their magical defense. You have Sebas, classical warrior, a lot of damage, a lot of health, balanced stats. He's not gonna delete anyone, but he's also not gonna be deleted. You have Nave to be able to jump in and finish off the enemies with her high crit against targets with low health. Then you have this Entomas. Another alternative of a mage can be either an area of effect mage that inflicts multiple debuffs on them, it has high speed and high attack, or you can use her as a single target, a bleed team member to deal massive damage to one single enemy. You can have any of those pleiades and then Lupusregina, and she's gonna be able to heal them just fine. More because all of those are SR characters. SR characters usually have inferior stats to the SSR characters. So when you heal some of those players with Lupusregina, the healing is going to be more noticeable because they will have a little bit less health, and by that extension, the healing is going to be, looking better than usual. And all the players are really easy to acquire early on the game, so you can, level 20, level 15, do a players team, put Lupusregina there as your best healer or one of your viable healers on the run, and you can go all the way to level 80 with a players team with no problem at all. And Lupusregina is gonna be your good healer all of that time, and she's not gonna fail because she offers really nice healings. If you don't like that, well, you can mix her with the SSR versions of the Pleiades, like this one that is also an SSR version, or this one is also another SSR version. This, in fact, is Lupusregina again. Or this is it that there is also an SSR version of this Entoma. All the SSR versions count as Pleiades, even if the game doesn't tell you that. Even this Nave counts as a Pleiade, even when she should be on the Adventurers team. But, well, even Pestonia, she is not formally a Pleiade, which is treated like one. The only things that are not really that compatible is Pestonia and Lupusregina, because both are healers, both heal multiple targets at the same time, both offer a little bit of purifying, but the buff, the utility that they bring is very different. But if you want a healer, Pestonia and Lupusregina are not very compatible because they are the same. You both are healers, but if you have a high carry, a carry like Momon that is able to kill an entire team if you set up the enemy's health correctly for his ultimate, you can do something like Pestonia and Lupusregina plus a tank. The tank is going to be defending and controlling the enemies. Lupusregina is going to be constantly healing either Momon, Pestonia, or the tank, depending on who gets hurt. And Pestonia will be there for the utility. She will be there for the Divine Persuasion to silence the enemy. She will be there for the attack down to lower the enemy's attack, for the recovery and defense boost, and for the ultimate that gives, the purifying the target's turn meter, and with her arc light, the cooldown reduction. So you can have Pestonia to constantly refresh and give extra turns to your carry, while Lupusregina is the actual healer. The actual uh, priest on your team. Either way, you can play a Lupusregina with any of the Pleiades if you include Yuri. So Yuri makes them deal extra assist attacks. So for example, you can put Lupusregina here from the Bleed team. You can put the healer Lupusregina. Then you can put another Bleed team member. For example, it could be Yaldabaoth. It could be Cocytus. It could be Entoma. Any Bleed team character that you want. And then you put Yuri, the SR version. So Yuri is gonna be making the other Lupusregina, the limited one, deal extra attacks with the assist. So she constantly is proccing bleed on the enemy and putting more bleed, while your other bleed team member is, inflicting more bleed, dealing that extra damage to bleed characters and so, while your Yuri is proccing extra assistance, it's blocking a little bit of single target attacks from the enemies, is providing a little bit of defense, and your Lupusregina is providing all the all the healing. So you can do all kinds of combinations with the Pleiades, and then you can experiment with different compositions. And when I do the second part of this guide, the part where I go to the arena and show you different teams and different compositions of Lupusregina against different enemies, you're gonna see how creative you can get with the team or the with the players teams. Other characters that you can combine with Lupusregina with the SR version are tanks. Almost all the tanks enjoy having high effect resistance because some of them naturally gain effect resistance and others really need it because they're the tank. They're the main character on the team that is gonna get attacked by the enemies over and over again, either because they absorb part of the damage for the allies or because they get in the way so they block attacks from the enemies, or because they are just really tanky and they need to get defeated as soon as possible, or things like that. Or like Kokyutos, that he basically forces the enemies to focus him before the allies. So any tank might that might be able to enjoy effect resistance, that are basically almost all the tanks in the game, could heavily benefit from Lupusregina because she will increase their effect resistance by a ton, literally by a lot. And of course, she's gonna be healing them. And because Lupusregina heals multiple targets at the same time, if you throw a healing on Kokyutos, for example, that was one example, or on Shelter, the healing doesn't get wasted because you're healing the tank, yeah, but you're also healing other allies with the regeneration passive. So it's not like, for example, the Clementine that is only going to be healing one at the same time. Sorry, one one ally per action or per healing, or not. It's not going to be like this Shelter that sometimes can only shield one ally instead of multiples, or like, for example, this healer, the Crush, or the Nigun, or the Henry, that yeah can heal multiple targets, but their healing is very low. No, Lupusregina can heal multiple targets, and she can heal them by very high amounts of HP. So even if you heal the tank, that is not gonna be a waste. So you can combine her with Pleiades. You can combine her with almost any tank on the game that is gonna enjoy the effect resistance, and also the recover effect is one. Remember that makes the target regain 6% max HP before action. Who are the characters with the highest HP on the game? The tanks. So if the recover heals based on percentage, the tanks with the highest health on the game are the ones that are gonna get the most benefit from the recover buff. So any tank with S on health is gonna be really, really, uh, you know, buffed or really boosted by that effect, like this Cocytus with S on health, or this Shelter with S on health as well, or even this Albedo with S on HP as well. So these kind of characters really get boosted by her. Then the last type of characters are the ones with C on speed. Just to give you an example of that, Warrior Cocytus here. You can see he's very balanced between defense and offensive stats, but he is really, really slow. C on speed. We can compare him to other warriors, for example, here with A on speed. Another warrior here, B on speed. You can see the difference there on the stats. For example, another warrior here, B on speed. Almost everyone on the warrior class has B or A on speed. Here you can see another two. Another warrior, A on speed. This is the only other warrior with C on speed, but her own arc life and exclusive effect boosts her speed all the way to A rating if you have it. So you can use this Lupusregina for the second skill, the heal skill, at the max level, level 5, to grant the speed boost to the allies and give them 20% more speed. So your characters that are very slow, like Kokyutos, that will almost always have the last turn on the entire match to be able to do damage, that extra 20% speed can help him match, characters with B on speed, or characters with A on speed that didn't have the speed boosted by the relics. So characters that are very slow can already have a turn, and you will have more chances of playing more turns with those characters, in fact. And more chances, more turns means more opportunities for you to win the game in any way. one way or another. Could be by healing someone, or by killing someone, or by giving a buff, or something like that. Like Victim, for example, will greatly benefit from having more speed, and he's basically a living nuke. And also the other characters that will greatly benefit from Lupusregina with this speed boost are these ones. The characters with S on speed, like Tank Shizu, like for example the Tank Hamusuke, the Robo Hamusuke, like this Seshi right here, like this Momo right here, or characters that have some kind of turn meter manipulation in their favor, like Nigredo, that she has Aeon speed, but she gains a lot of turn meter boost every time the enemy moves, and every time she throws the ultimate to an enemy with her special debuff. So she looks like an A speed character, but she really is an S speed character. Also, that includes characters like Solution, the SSR version. Well, let me show you where she is. That is right here, I think. Yeah, right here. S on speed, which she also gains turn meter boost every time she puts a special debuff on the enemies with her ultimate. And her captain skill gives her a massive turn meter boost by 50%. You know, that's a lot. And why they benefit? If I said that the characters with low speed benefit from Lupusregina speed up because, that way they are not that slow and they actually get a turn, then why I say that the high speed characters are also benefit from the same thing? Looks contradictory, right? Well, the thing is that characters with high speed, like Seshi, for example, that has a ton of speed, steals speed from the enemy, and also uh, steals turn meter from the enemy with the ultimate, uh, really benefit from the speed boost or the speed up because they already have a ton speed. Like for example, Lupusregina, she has 179 here, while Seshi has 223 plus the extra 20 of the 4-star. So that is a total of 243. The 20% more speed is going to be higher on a character with over 200 speed than on a character under, 200 speed. The speed up will be way better on a character with over the 200 speed threshold than the one under the 200 speed threshold, but can help both. The slow one can be decent speed with the speed up, and the already high speed character can be even faster than usual with that, combined with skills like, for example, Judgment of Heresy that deals more damage the more speed difference is between her and the enemy, or Nigredo that gains a massive turn meter boost here and another massive turn meter boost on the passive. Already, already keeps her an S category on speed. Those characters, by the time they have 3 turns, the enemy only had 2 turns. With speed up, it may be possible that some compositions may also be able to reach the 4th turn by the time they originally will have their 3rd turn. You boost already high an OP stat that is boosted on some characters, like the ones with S on speed. So, uh, to conclude this, you can combine the Lupusregina DSR version with all the pleiades on the game, literally all the pleiades. You can do all kinds of wacky, funny compositions and still have synergy within them. Or you can also combine Lupusregina with all kind of tanks that have S on health and that enjoy effect resistance. And not only that, but you can also combine that same character with characters with S on speed, or that have A on speed, but are able to compete with the ones that have S on speed, as well as characters that have only C on the speed category, like this one right here. And that gives you a lot of possibilities because you can do a Pleiades team with bleed, or a Pleiades team with shock damage, or a Pleiades team with magical damage or physical damage, or a Pleiades team with counter attacks, or you can combine with a full control team with multiple tanks, or you can put her into a buffers team, things like Pestonia or Pandora's Actor to buff one carry on your team, one character that is going to be able to carry your entire game as the only damage dealer on the team. Carry characters are, for example, Maid Albedo, both Momon versions, the SSR Entoma, or for example, Seshi. And you can also combine her with any kind of very slow or very fast character to do either very fast teams or slow teams that are able to outpace teams with B on speed. So you can combine either S or C speed category characters with her, and that will be all. Um, According to me, I already covered all the skills: the awakening, the relics, the attributes, the arc light, the skills, the teams and compositions. So yeah, don't worry about the runes. This section right here, you just put whatever you have, whatever you need, or your highest level. Try to prioritize giving a little bit of health, so your characters already have like extra healing because of that heal, but because of that healing or the HP or health, whatever this try to put something like this. But if you don't have that, well, put the ones that give defense and physical defense, or whatever defense you have, physical or magical. So yeah, combine Lupusregina with high speed characters or with very slow speed characters, or all kind of pleiades teams, or tank controlling teams. Tank teams, those that have multiple tanks, like 2 or 3 per team, that basically inflict multiple control effects on the enemy, like Albedo or Tank Okyutos or Tank Shizu. Those kind of characters. By tomorrow, I think I'm gonna be uploading the full guide to Lupusregina, the practical guide, where I show you on the arena the fights with her and the teams that I told you. And yeah, if you're interested on that, well, check it out tomorrow. It's gonna be up. And the next guide, I think it's gonna be about Hamuski, the original one, because right now there is the Hamuski event, so it's fitting. And with everything said, thanks for hearing my awful voice and being here in this remake of the Lupusregina guide. Maybe I made it a little bit messy because I didn't have any script or guide or anything like that, so I'm just rambling here. But I tried to cover everything, and I think that I did cover everything useful and everything good about this character. Well, the last thing that I didn't cover that is good about this character is the design. Just look, this character is really really good. Like I can walk this character all the way here to the side of Albedo, and both look really really nice. These are probably the two most stunning characters on the game, and they're really nice to see. They're really nice to look at. Basically, number one and number two most attractive girls on the Overlord are right here. But yeah, with that, I already covered everything, and thanks for being here and all of that. So, until the next time.